Manchester City are in fourth right now, 5 points back of Arsenal. Their Premier League struggles continue this week, and they squandered a 2-goal lead at home against Crystal Palace, settled for a 2-2 draw. Olise got the equalizer in stoppage time from the penalty spot. Manchester City just one win in their last 6 Premier League games.
Yeah, I mean, so are we seeing, just an inevitable regression from this great team, or is this really a problem? I always joke about Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? Well, nobody's going to get a longer leash than Pep, but this is not the way that they planned it, and this is not what we expect from this team. But nobody's going to cry for Pep. Nobody's going to cry for Man City, and you have created these expectations. I mean, it's kind of like Megan Rapinoe when she was in the documentary. Back to the documentary we mentioned at the top of the show, when she was saying that playing for the United States women's national team is the worst job in the world, because if you win, you're expected to, and if you don't win, you get crushed. Well, welcome to the elite, and that's what Manchester City is. And so I think that they are gonna. I don't think they're gonna get crushed, but this is not what we have expected from Man City.
Yeah, they've won 3 in a row, 5 of the last 6. They've created an almost Bayern Munich-like feeling of inevitability. But this season, I'm starting to seriously consider that they might not win the Premier League, particularly because it's Liverpool that's one of the teams above them. I really respect Liverpool and feel like they won't collapse in the title race against City the way Arsenal did last season. And yeah, on City, I know it's weird to say this after a game in which they had 75% possession, but with De Bruyne injured, Stones banged up this season, Gundogan gone, he went to Barcelona, it does feel like they don't have the same level of control over matches as they did in the past. They have some players there that are more vertical, like Foden and Doku, and different characteristics, so they're not controlling games to quite the same degree as they did in the past, and it burned them here against Palace, who, by the way, I don't want to bury the lead from an American standpoint. Chris Richards started this match again in the midfield and acquitted himself well. That is something that Gregg Berhalter is going to have to really think about in the next window.
And that will be really interesting, because he's playing consistently, and as you mentioned, playing well in a position that, when they put up their chart, okay, maybe they say he can play there in a pinch, right? That's the phrase that everybody uses. But this is not in a pinch. Now this is possibly a position where he could be really good. And we've mentioned before with the midfield of the U.S. men's national team in flux. Who knows? Maybe this is something that they could look to. But again, this is so difficult, because as a national team, you only have a few days with the team. And so most of the stuff that you do is on paper. And so if you bring in Chris Richards, you almost have to plan ahead of time and say, hey, listen, I'm bringing you in now in this camp as this position. And you have to plan your training sessions and obviously your game plan for him to test it out, because otherwise it's just theoretical from the outside. Hey, he's playing really well out here. And again, as we said, form is fallacy. Or as I've said, form is fallacy. So it doesn't always translate. But I do think that it's worth the test, and it's worth the time, that valuable time, to use it to possibly see, hey, is this where ultimately he makes the most sense for the national team going forward? You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.